Welcome to Developer Office Hour. I will give everybody just a couple minutes to trickle on in, and we will get started. In the meantime, I will go over kind of the preamble here. This is Developer Office Hour for NVIDIA Omniverse. This is I do this every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and I answer questions that come up on the forums, on Discord, anywhere in the community that I might encounter them. But I like to answer them here on video, get a recording and code samples that we can share around. And then also it's a great time for you to just bring up stuff that you're working on, things that you might be stuck on, and we can try to work through it together here live. And anything that I can't answer on this session, I can always come back on the next one and follow up. So everything that we do here is all saved in this repository. We have all the code samples in here. Everything is recorded, and then you can go back and look at the timestamped sections of these videos. The best way to look through that is in this Omniverse FAQ link. So I'll go ahead and throw this in the chat here. Not that chat. Let's try that. There we go. And if you're here, let me know. Say hi in the chat, and we'll get started. Okay. So first question, how can I programmatically create and join an OmniLive session? So this was a question that came up. A user wanted to, let me kind of show where we're at here. We have the OmniLive feature where you can connect to a layer and do work on it while live syncing all that work to other folks on the network, so that we have this live collaboration, right? And so this works with these layers. It'll create new session layers, and each of these layers are people contributing to the stage. So usually, you just use this UI to start a session, connect, and all that. But this user wanted to do it programmatically. So the first requirement here is you need to be in a stage that is on Nucleus. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm just going to do this part manually. We'll save this as, all right, good. We'll save this as, well, we can just use this one. This is the one that well, let's open it. That I was testing with. Localhost, users. All right, so I had this stage, and it's on my Nucleus server. We can see here, Omniverse localhost. And now let's take a look at the code. Welcome, Data Juggler. Welcome, Chris. Let's go to this code here. So OmniLive. There used to be a different API for this. Now we've consolidated into this extension, OmniKit USD layers, which has a fairly nice API. Most of the work here, we're going to be doing it with just this. We just need to import this, which is going to give us a live sync interface. So we get live syncing, and then we do work. I've just established here a unique session name that we'll be using to connect and then verify that everything's good. So let's go ahead and try this out. So I'm going to run this. I think I might need to set up my communication here. Izzy, yeah. Okay, and let's get that interface. This isn't going to do anything here, but no errors. That's good. Oh, well, so yeah, we do have an error. I already messed up. Let's get the imports in, and now we can use that function. All right. And now with that, we can create a live session. And all we need to do is feed it a name. And in this case, we'd like it to be unique so we don't overlap with any other existing session. So I'll go ahead and run that. And if I come over here now, nope, not there, here. If I were to join a session, I can see my session is here now. I should have shown this UI before, it was empty. But now we've got this session with the name that I gave it. We haven't joined it yet. Okay. Now let's simulate joining the session. I could have used this live session variable to feed it into the join live session, but I just want to simulate. You have two separate computers running separate code. So likely the one that created it, the one that's joining probably didn't create it. So how would you get that session? So one way to do it would be your friend gives you that unique session name. So we can get all the live sessions, check their names, and if we find one that matches the unique name that we're both connecting to, we can go ahead and join it. So let's do that now. Okay. Now we come back to this UI and we can see here that now this is green and and that means that I've joined the session. We have this green lightning bolt here. We can see here that there's a new session layer, and that's my authoring layer. So now any work that I'm doing is no longer on the root layer. I'm actually doing it separately on a session layer. Then we have documentation on OmniLive and how all of that works. This is mostly I just wanted to focus on how do we code this. And then we have this green lightning bolt here to tell us that this is our base layer, if I remember correctly. So let's go back to our code. So we've joined it. Great. Now let's make some changes, right? Come in here. Let's create a sphere and we'll put it over there. And so now you can see in my session, I have these deltas for the work that I've done within this live sync session. So this hasn't made it into the root layer yet. So now, if I come over here, I could merge, but let's do the stop live session first. So I'm using this variable. This is the session variable that I used to join the session. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna continue to use that one instead of the live session one that I had stored there. So in this case, I'm going to stop the live session. This doesn't kill the live session. It means I'm just disconnecting. So now no longer connected. That sphere is no longer there. It didn't make it into the root layer. So did we lose our data? Did I lose my work when I did that? No, that's actually saved. And let's take a look here where that's saved. There's this live folder that gets created when you join a live session. You can see here there's my test live root layer or stage. There's my unique session, and here is where the data lives for the session and all the work that I'm doing. So thankfully, I can still reconnect my data is still there. Pretty cool, right? So now, internet dropped. I didn't lose my work. I come back on, and now I'm ready to merge. And you would do this from the UI with end and merge. But what we're going to do is we're going to run this here. So this is asynchronous. This is an asynchronous function. The reason why is because it's doing some safe operations. We don't want to block the UI. We don't want the UI to freeze while it's saving that work. So we do it asynchronous. So I'm getting the async event loop, and then I'm creating a task and running it. And ideally, you would, if for example, then you wanted to delete the session, you would wait until this finishes. So you would you would get the task and make sure that it finished before it's done. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and run it this way. I'm doing it step by step. I don't need to make sure that I've waited for it to finish. Cool. So that ran. And no more session layer, no more connection. And now you can see that that sphere made it into the root layer. And you come over here, session is still around. So nobody's on the session anymore, but the session still exists. So we need to delete that session. This is where you want to be careful. If somebody's joined, if somebody's still connected, they would get a notification, get booted off the session. But if they had work that they didn't merge, or if you didn't merge your work before destroying the session, then it would be lost. So you want to check to make sure that's been completed. And if you're all good, then the way that you delete the session is it's actually very simple. If we print session.url, you can see here that this is actually pointing to the the live my unique session folder. So all we need to do is do this is with the Omni client API. This is the Nucleus API. All we need to do is call delete on that folder, and that would be this one, right? So it would delete this folder and all of that content, and we're done. So let's go ahead and run that bit. And come back over here to start a join session, and there's no longer a session. Cool. So there was some staleness here because I was in the folder, but you can see here now that that folder is gone. So so that completes the you know how to create, join, delete OmniLive sessions programmatically. Any questions about that? I thought this was a good one. I enjoyed going down this path and learning about all of this. Hey, Michael, welcome. When can we expect Kit 105? I cannot give a date on that, but very, very, very soon. All right. If you ask me in a few days, I'll probably say very, very. I'll just keep adding varies until it releases. But yeah, I can't share any more than that. But it's it's coming. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. How can I programmatically change the render to RTX Real-Time, RTX Path Tracing, Iray, or Storm? I want to change the renderer programmatically, is the short request. So previously I would have told you, oh yeah, we've got carb settings. You can change the setting, and maybe there's a few settings that you need to change because one setting controls real-time to interactive, and then another setting controls RTX to RTX Iray or Storm. So this is very much simplified. And if if you're trying to do like a one-off thing like that, it's not undoable. It's like it's kind of like a UI interaction that a user would take. You want to look in window actions first. And if we search render, we have 4 actions, all in the OmniKit viewport actions. And in fact, there's actually one more in here that, because of my search query, it's not showing up, but let's check out. Actually, see here. But the other one that that exists that I had in mind was the toggle RTX render mode. So this one switches between real-time and path tracing, but probably more useful is just having these under your belt, right? This would get you everything. And it works if you switch between these two, it works just the same as the toggle. So so we have actions for these now. So all you have to do is call the action, it'll do the work, and you're done. So let's take a look at that. We've covered actions recently for another purpose. Let's review that a little bit. So if we import OmniKit, I would probably change this to actions core just to be a little bit more exact on what we're importing here. Okay. I think that should work. We'll try it out now. We can get the action registry, and then we get an action by its the action the action ID is basically the extension plus the action name. Let's see, the UI explains this. I think it breaks it down better than I just did. I'd have to look at the documentation again to get the exact language that we use here. I believe the ID is both the extension plus the action name is how we refer to an action. So you need both. Just an action name is not going to get you what you need. So we get the action with those two, and then once we have the action object, action.execute, and that's it. So let's run it. We are currently in real time. So if we switch to path tracing, it should work, right? We're in interactive, which is path tracing. Now let's go back to real time. You can see here that the name of the action is changing every time. We're using the same extension for all of these. They all live in the same extension, but the only thing that's changing is the action name. And now we're in real time. And now storm. This one you can like clearly visually tell the difference. I get the lighting change here. So now we're in storm. And lastly, Iray. Here we're in RTX accurate Iray. All right. So pretty easy now. Save that. Any question about changing renders? Yeah, Zia's got a good question. We can try to cover that one. Cool. All right, let's jump into those questions then. Open forum questions. So Chris is asking, do you know how to slow the viewport rotation of your head view of the character controller in Omniverse? When you activate it, it's very fast. Short answer is no. I don't know that one. I think you're talking about we even have a sample that's a good starting point, right? I think I need to jump into create for that sample. I'll bring up create in the meantime, or USD Composer, excuse me. I'll get that cooking in the background, and we'll try to see here. Zula wants to know about best way to set up a reinforcement learning environment in Isaac Sim using OmniGraph, Warp, Torch, tensors. We have somebody in the community right now, Papa Chuck, that's uh, actively. We have Isaac Sim specific office hours now, which are really great, and also a good place to ask that one. If you haven't joined our Discord, I'm going to share that with you now. And yeah, I think it'd be great if you connect with Papa Chuck on there. I think you guys might have a nice chat. I don't think he's been exploring OmniGraph and Warp, but definitely reinforcement learning with Isaac, the Isaac Gym environment. So actually, I can link you to that if you haven't run into that yet. Isaac Gym environments. Yes, right. I don't know if you've seen this one yet, but you can use this for reinforce. This gives you a good template for reinforcement learning in Isaac Sim. So I'll share that as well. All right, do I have create open? Yes, I do. Okay, so there's a sample here. Have you looked at this? I know, Chris, you're saying, I see you're saying character controller on a capsule, but have you looked at this look at sample? This is probably maybe the most relevant to what you're looking to do. Yeah, you can convert this into a capsule demo if you wanted to. Does this look useful? So this would get like, instead of controlling this with this is a look at, but I think this should get you in the right direction for maybe doing if you want to do like a joystick input to control the direction. So definitely come. You want to go into create in the samples browser. I mean all, but I think it's under visual scripting. No, simulation. Where did we put those? Animation. Duh. Yeah, we have the look at and a bunch of other samples for. Yeah, when you walk around, so that would be the other. We have another sample for that. Thought we did. I'd have to see. I'd have to see code for what you're doing. In that case, I think. What do you mean by character controller? Is there documentation for that? Because as far as character controllers go, we have the animation graph. But maybe you're talking about doing like a Python scripting component character controller. And you should have complete control over that. Maybe you're doing it on update, and that's updating much faster than, you're tied to your FPS. So maybe you want to check the delta time and make sure you're updating your rotation at a real time rate that you'd expect. Windows simulation character controller. Okay, so I'm on my perspective. I need a capsule print. So that's too sensitive. That's what you're saying. How do I turn this off? Well, now you've killed my session, haven't you? Chris, do you know how to turn this off? It's not escape. Maybe I made a mistake of doing this on the persp camera. Space to, oh, duh, stop the simulation. Thank you. All right, let's do a fresh scene here. And I take it you've already messed around with that speed control. And play. Yeah, it's pretty fast. I wonder, can we just change the sensitivity on the navigation? Okay. I think I got it. We're there. Yep, that one. And then if I middle, still pretty sensitive on the rotation. I thought if I could do a scroll wheel, maybe I could change the sensitivity on that. This is already pretty slow. Let's just bring this way down and see what happens. And I suppose we could lower that. Nah, it's probably hard coded in this. Also, I'm not sure how you jump with this. If you can't use space. Camera inertia. Don't think so. Let's let me follow up on this. I actually haven't used this at all, but it looks cool. Yeah, hit me up on if you're not on Discord, if you can join and hit me up with I'm Maddie on there, and that way I can follow up with you. Hopefully, before next Friday, I'd like to be able to get you something. We can. Yeah, I won't dig into the code right now. All right, I think we can jump over to Zia's question. So Zia was asking if how we might programmatically cycle through variants. And that's all a USD thing, so we can cover that. Let's do a new one. New stage. I'm gonna get out of create. I'm gonna go back to code. Okay. And we can do new stage. And if you have not gone through this, where do I want to go? Here. USD variants tutorial. There's an authoring variants tutorial. This is where I learned how to do variants. And this will teach you how to create variants, and then changing variants is all very similar. So let's go ahead and we're going to create a variant set on world, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to move this to the side so I can refer to it as we go. I won't move it to the side, but let's come over here, new text file. Need those bits. We're going to go import OmniUSD. We're going to get the stage, OmniUSD, get context, get stage. Then we're going to get world prim, all we have right now. And we're going to do stage, get prim at path world. And now we can go ahead and refer to that tutorial for getting we're going to add a variant set. And then we're going to add some variants. Okay, so this is all we're doing here is we're defining a variant set. We're going to call it shapes. And then we're going to add a few here. I'm going to do cube, sphere, cone, and then we're going to select a variant set, do our work in it, and that's all I think I need to refer to for this. Great. Okay. All right, we're going to select the cube, and then we're going to say stage dot define. No, how do we do this? USD geom dot cube dot define stage, and then the path world cube. Okay, and we do this a few more times. Obviously, better ways to write this code. Sphere, 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 cone, okay, and then we run this all together. And if you have an idea of how we're going to then switch the variants programmatically, feel free to throw that in the chat. I think you might have a clue already. So here's our world prim. This one has the variant set called variants, shapes. And right now it's set to cone. So let's go look at that cone. And we can change it to cube, and we can change it to sphere. Okay. Okay, so this is how you do it manually, right? Any thoughts on how we would do it programmatically? In fact, I'm going to do this. Okay, well, I'm already on cube. Let's go to sphere. We got a sphere. Okay, so that's all it is. But what I will do is I'll simulate. I've opened a stage that already has variants. So but now I want to change it programmatically. So what would we do? We'd get the stage. We would get the prim that has it. In this case, I know exactly which prim it is, but maybe you'd want to traverse and then try to find out which ones have variant sets and all that. Then we variant sets. Let's see what that looks like. It's an object there. Let's look at that API. I want to make sure I get this right. USD variant sets. So hard to get to the Pixar documentation now. Okay, then I can go to USD variant sets, and then I can get a variant set by name. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. If that variant set exists on this prim, you can do things like that. We're going to do a variant set. At that point, I can change to cone. We got a cone. All right, I'm going to save this. I'll save this for sure. These are default prims. Can we grab lights in the same way? You can put anything you want in a variant set, right? You can edit prims below the hierarchy of wherever you set the variant set. You could create new prims. It's all up to you. This is just the quickest way for me to show something. I highly recommend going through that tutorial. This one here. You can do it. The tutorial is written so that you can do it in USD view. So you can get that from the launcher and follow this tutorial exactly, or you can adapt it to run it in Omniverse Code. But lots of fun. Highly recommend running through all of these tutorials. Yeah. Some of these are maybe not as accessible right now. This is Is this katana specific? Maybe not. Yeah, there's a katana part here. This one's got some Houdini bits. So, all right, next question. Hey, Shekhar. Chris, I think I'm need to search for Maddie. If you look in the developer section, you can't miss me. I've got a green name. Zua was asking, how can we get access to the Python API comprehensively? Also, do we have an AI LLM that is trained on Omniverse API? So first question, how do you get the access to the Python API comprehensively? What I would do is I would start a new extension that will create a new VS Code project, and you'll have access to all of the extensions. You'll have access to all of the extensions that way, and you'll have autocomplete and all that. We have a tutorial on that. That is a good way to get started on that. Omniverse. This one. Car, you're late. I answered that one already. Again, the question is, how can we? When can we expect Kit 105? So Kit 105 is coming even sooner than last time I was asked. Very, 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 very soon. Sorry, I can't be any more helpful, but they're crossing the T's, dotting the I's. It's coming, and it's good. So get ready. Anybody else? Oh, I'm sorry. The second part of that question was LLMs trained on Omniverse API. As I'm sure you're aware, the ChatGPT models, the OpenAI models, were trained on data from like end of 2021. And we didn't really have, I'm guessing, a scrapable form of the Omniverse API for them to train on back then. And even now, they'd have to go through documentation that's not going to cover everything. So I think the short answer is there isn't one publicly available right now. There's a lot of interest in that, as I'm sure you can imagine. We have a survey going on right now, actually, in our Discord. Let me grab that link really quick, because I think all of you should fill it out. There it is. Copy link. Yeah, so we have this survey right now. Try to fill it out like today, because we're moving fast on this, and it is very short, the survey, and it's about what would be useful to you if you had an AI assistant in Omniverse as a developer. What are things that would be useful to you? So check it out, fill it out, and hopefully we'll get some new toys to play with soon. Anything else? Yeah. So Extraordinary brings up a good point. You can fine tune ChatGPT models with extra content. I haven't had a chance to mess around with that yet personally. But I think you brought it up when I was doing the prompt engineering for Action Graph too. They're, we're everyone's very interested in it. I think if somebody in the community wanted to play around with that, I think that'd be cool. There's a lot to do with just the prompt engineering side of things to teach an agent how to do things in Omniverse. So. And yeah, ChatGPT also supports plugins. Michael Davey is bringing up. Yeah, so I don't know if in the future we'll see a ChatGPT plugin that does Omniverse work. I don't know. There's a lot of paths to explore with this today. So, and then anything else? I think I'm happy to continue to chat about LLMs, and we can fill up the time with that. But I didn't want to make sure if we have any questions, we can cover those. Anybody working on anything cool, fun, interesting? That's what this time is here for too. Let's talk about what you're working on, where you're stuck, and let's get you unstuck. So Chris is asking, can create 2 basic materials with a grunge texture without having to go to Substance Designer or Substance Painter? Do you know? I briefly know. Let's open up Create. Have you played around with the material graph yet? There's we've expanded that to add nodes more similar to what you would have in maybe not Substance Painter, but Substance Designer, where I know for sure we have a scratches node, so you could have procedural scratches, and then any way to make those materials. And I think we're going to have the live stream tomorrow will be about, not tomorrow, next week will be about Substance and doing it that way. But we do have some functionality within Create. So I would also look at these V materials. These V materials are a lifesaver, and they do all sorts of stuff. So like this aging copper, I think it's procedural, and you can, there's like 1,800 materials here. So I would start here. We apply that. And I think we have, gotta wait for it to load. Come on. Aging copper. Very cool. Chris is working on retail stuff. Shekhar is working on synthetic data generation. Okay, so we have this material here. And go to the material. And we've got these scratches and abrasions, age. Ooh, that's ugly. So I would start there. These are amazing. You could even, if you wanted to, dig into this. You could even go into the shader and grab the MDL and see how they're doing this. So if you feel like venturing into MDL shader writing, but otherwise, let's do one more here. We'll do another sphere. Let's apply Omni surface. And let's open up this material. All right, so here's this massive shader. This is our Uber Omni surface material. And here's this would be the material prim that it connects to actually do the output. But we have things like you can apply individual bits here, like cover of dust. So you can build up a material by adding these in. Bump map. Could have sworn we had scratches here. Maybe not, or maybe I was looking at something else. We do have these noise textures, so we do have some procedural textures that you can add into the mix. But otherwise, at least with this current release, you would have to do textures and connect those in. So, but there's quite a bit of flexibility here to build your own without having to go out into another application. Add grunge to the floor. I don't remember what this. This dust is probably not gonna. It's not gonna do it. It's not gonna be the look that you're going for. But I feel like the grunge that you're looking to do for on the floor, that should definitely be possible. I would check in the materials channel on Discord. Yeah, absolutely. Like you can build it up with noise. Out that channel within our Discord server, and there are helpful people that have already been building things like that. Like I think we have a video tutorial on water puddles and things like that. So totally doable. I think it was with the prim bars. I'm blanking on this one. If anybody knows which one I'm talking about, please point it out. But there was a tutorial like was using primvars too. You could even paint the parts in within Omniverse. Yeah, it's not coming up. If I find it, I will link it. Materials from Blender import to a certain extent. There's work being done to expand the materials that map from Blender to Omniverse to MDL. But today, yeah, you're safer staying on a kind of a PBR attributes only. No, try not to use like the procedural nodes, but there is work being done to be able to translate more of those Blender nodes into Omniverse. Extraordinary is asking about, I think if I remember correctly, it's the I think it's like the adversarial behavior research paper. I might have just made that up, but it's I don't even know what that means. But if I remember correctly, it's it's the Soul character was doing some fighting with a sword and a shield. If I remember correctly, I think that's what we're talking about, that one. I don't know. That was a research paper. I don't know if that's a feature that's coming or anything like that. Yeah, the CC and Bentley live stream yesterday was super cool. If you haven't checked that out, catch the rerun live. Where are we at? This one. I'm going to share this link. They totally get it, right? The full fidelity visualization. We need to see everything real. It needs to look like the real world. We need to throw as much processing power as we can to it. They totally get it, and it's super exciting to see them talking about it and running with it in Omniverse. You can maybe look at tiles. Zia's asking about how they're streaming their 3D tiles into Omniverse. You might be able to look at their extension and see how they're maybe learning a bit from there. But CCM has their 3D tiles format there. The way that they store and also stream the geospatial data as 3D tiles, and they've done custom work too in various applications like Unity, Unreal, and now Omniverse too. Basically, take that streaming logic that they use, that they first did it on the web, and bringing it into those applications. So Here's the quick start. There should be a link to the GitHub repo. Yep. So here's the repo. This is open source Apache 2. So go forth and learn. Yeah, see here, you can see they have a CCM native that they then use that they leverage for all the different engines. Very cool. All right, we are at the top of the hour. Thank you everybody for coming. I hope you learned something. I've got homework to do from the questions that were asked. So feel free to reach out to me on Discord, and we can follow up. If you are still here, I also wanted to share with you the Omniverse community page where you can find the Omniverse Insider form. And we would love for you to consider becoming an Omniverse Insider. It's a form that you can fill out and refill out. You can do a little bit today, do a little bit more later. But just let us, do an initial fill out. Let us know who you are, and that helps us better connect with you to share opportunities that we might have, like the survey that we just that we're doing right now about AI in Omniverse, and also early access opportunities to give us feedback on connectors and things like that. So check that out and fill it out, and hopefully we can keep in touch. When does the survey close? I don't have a date for that right now, but I would fill it out as soon as possible. I know they want to move very fast on that. But like I said, it's like 5 questions, 5 minutes. Super easy. All right. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will catch you next week. See you, everyone.